some time talking about discussion forums here. Unfortunately, in the first class, we have to spend the majority of our time talking about writing and research, but I also like to help prepare you for the future classes that you will have in this degree program. Discussion forums are one of those areas in online learning that is used quite frequently and very, very important. So I wanted to make sure that I had a chance to go through this. And so let's get started. Discussion forums give an opportunity for students to speak, give an opportunity for you to give opinions, to share research, to be heard. And every professor in this degree program is going to focus on this in different ways. And so the first thing I would encourage you to do is to make sure that whenever you begin a new class in a degree program that you fully understand that professor's stance on discussion forums. Make sure that you look at the rubrics and make sure that if you have any questions, that you have the professor explain that to you, because again, they're going to be different. I like to think of discussion forums as the online version of put your desks in a circle and talk about this. Remember in your undergraduate work, if you had it in a traditional setting, in an on-ground setting, you may have had a professor who said, okay, take this topic, put your desk in a circle, talk about it, and then come back to me with some sort of comment. And so to me, discussion forums are that online version of put your desks in a circle. Now, you may recall here in this class in particular, where I have the 6-stop model for paper writing, I also put a 3-step process in place for discussion forums. I like process because I think process helps you do things that are repeatable. So from a discussion forum perspective going forward, now again in this class I focus the discussion forums on idea sharing, sharing of research, sharing of your purpose statements, and so on and so on. So we don't go into a whole lot of detail on what you're going to be doing in discussion forums going forward. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. And so this 3-stop process may provide a way for you to help construct your responses to make them meaningful. And that includes 3 steps. State your premise or your theory, support your premise or theory, and then apply your premise or theory. So if you can get this when you start a discussion forum question, state, support, apply, state, support, apply, state, support, apply, then I think it'll be helpful. So when you state your premise or your theory, most of the time, your professor is going to ask you to define something, state an opinion on something, compare or contrast something, recap your thoughts, and it's very important for you to provide a clear statement on how you're going to answer that. So right out of the chute, you need to provide your statement or your premise or your theory behind how you would answer that particular question. Make sure that you're clear here, make sure that you're specific. And then the second step is to support your premise or theory. Opinions are okay, but they're of little value without support, and particularly in graduate studies. So you're going to find that the majority of your professors here are going to require that you provide peer-reviewed research, and many times it's a minimum of 2 for the statements that you're making. And so you'll need to use the CSU online library to find those academic and professional peer-reviewed journals to support your ideas. Yes, even in discussion forums. So make sure this is one area that you need to make sure that you're very, very clear with your professor on what the expectations are. Don't rely only on your textbook. Use the CSU online library to find those. And also remember, don't do a Google search. Remember, Google searches are just that. They're not, Google is not a research engine. It is a search engine. Your CSU online library is the research engine. And then finally, apply your premise or your theory. And so the challenge that you have here, and I see this happen with students quite frequently, is they like to use examples, they like to use personal experience, which is great on the application. However, if your application or your example overtakes the entire point and it in essence becomes your point, then you've gone too far. So make sure that your examples support your premise, support your theory, but don't become the main focus of your post. And then response posts should follow the same type of process. You should extend the conversation. You can do that by asking questions, providing examples. Simply saying good post or I agree, not going to work in this degree program. Let me give you a quick example here. Suppose your professor asked the question, can online discussion forums be effective? Well, you go out and you find some research at the CSU online library. You have an opinion, but you go there to find supporting material for your opinion. And your theory then, after your research and your ideas, is that online discussion forums can be more effective than interaction in an on-ground traditional classroom. How do you base that? Well, the support that you found had one article that said, um, students must participate. They can't hide. Remember in undergraduate classes, perhaps you had that discussion hog who sat in the very front row and would raise their hand to try and answer every question that the professor posed, and you would dutifully sit in the back row and just kind of hunker down in your desk so that you wouldn't be called upon. Well, in an online discussion forum classroom, everyone must participate, so no hiding. And then you also found an article that said some students fear speaking in public, so they'd much prefer to type the responses in and so on and so on. And so you can use those two pieces of support to support your theory, and then you can use examples to demonstrate that. Okay, so my hope is that this has been helpful for you going forward. I would encourage you, if you found this helpful, to save this and then potentially use it. But always make sure that you understand from your current professor what their expectation is, and never, ever, ever tell a professor that he or she is the first professor to ever ask you to do X, Y, or Z. That's not going to get you any bonus points there, and I always give my standard answer on that is every boss you've ever had in your lifetime the same? The answer to that, of course, is no. The same answer will apply for, is every professor in this program the same? Do they have the same expectations? The answer to that will be no as well. Take care.